What if the fear we see in children today is a reflection of the education they received yesterday? And what if the way we teach or fail to teach shapes not just their future, but the future of society itself? Join John, Professor Gilda Cortella, Ava, and Dr. Ada Champ as they dive into the profound implications of authoritarianism in schools, the real meaning of authority versus fear, and the transformative power of education grounded in love, understanding, and respect. From ethical dilemmas to practical realities, this conversation explores why punishment is often a refuge for those who fail to teach, how fear masquerades as respect and obedience as discipline, the distinction between admiration and ambition, authority and authoritarianism, and how love, not power, must guide the development of conscious, responsible adults.
Punishment is the refuge of those who fail to teach. It is the ego's attempt to impose the authority that true understanding would have naturally inspired. In its shadow, fear masquerades as respect and obedience as discipline, while the very wisdom meant to be shared remains lost beneath the arrogant incompetence of those who call themselves educators.
Hello everyone, I selected this note in response to a pre-adolescent participant from Bella's group. Unfortunately, authoritarianism within schools remains a reality, one that reflects shortcomings in the professional preparation of those entrusted with the vital task of educating future generations of leaders. For that reason, I have invited Professor and Pedagogue Gilda Cortella, a graduate of the Federal University, with postgraduate and doctoral degrees earned in Paris. In addition to her teaching experience at European and South American universities, Professor Gilda is the co-founder of Colegio Total, a distinguished institution for holistic education that has been the subject of academic research in several countries. Professor Gilda, welcome. We are eager to hear your insights. Please feel entirely at ease, as though you were in your own classroom.
Thank you, John. It is a true pleasure to be here. First and foremost, I must emphasize that the shortcomings of educational systems around the world are complex in origin, profound in nature, and for the most part, independent of the individual educator's intention or effort. We as professionals are and must remain what we might call a work in progress. Authoritarianism represents only a stage in the evolution of human consciousness. It can always be transcended whenever there exists a sincere desire to attain one's own personal and moral excellence. With that said, I now offer you my brief analysis. 1. Critical Pedagogy, Paulo Freire. Core idea: education should awaken consciousness, not reproduce oppression. Resonance: Old Billy's aphorism perfectly mirrors Freire's critique of the banking model of education, where teachers deposit knowledge instead of fostering understanding. The arrogant incompetence described echoes Freire's idea that authoritarian teaching reflects the educator's insecurity and lack of genuine understanding. Freire would say, true authority arises from dialogue, not domination. 2. Humanistic Pedagogy, Carl Rogers, Abraham Maslow. Core idea: learning should nurture the whole person, emotions, self-esteem, and creativity. Resonance: Old Billy's line: the ego's attempt to impose the authority that true understanding would have naturally inspired, reflects the humanistic view that genuine learning grows from empathy, authenticity, and trust, not control or punishment. Rogers, for instance, held that teachers who use punishment as detention reveal a failure to create a climate of acceptance and self-directed growth. 3. Constructivism, Jean Piaget, Lev Vygotsky. Core idea: knowledge is built through interaction and personal meaning-making. Resonance: the aphorism's criticism of fear masquerading as respect speaks to constructivist rejection of passive, authority-based learning. True education, for Piaget and Vygotsky, is dialogical and internal, not externally imposed by punishment. 4. Montessori and democratic education, Maria Montessori, A.S. Neal. Core idea: freedom and self-discipline replace fear and external control. Resonance: Billy's statement aligns with Montessori's principle that punishment damages self-discipline and dignity, and Neil's belief, in Summerhill, that respect cannot be demanded through fear. Both would agree. Coercion replaces the inner order that love and understanding naturally awaken. In summary, Old Billy's aphorism synthesizes the essence of Freire's critical pedagogy, liberation from oppressive authority; Roger's humanism, empathy and authenticity over control; Piaget/Vygotsky's constructivism, learning through meaning, not obedience; Montessori/Neil's freedom pedagogy, discipline born from love, not fear. It is, in essence, a manifesto for conscious education, one that places understanding above punishment and humility above ego.
Dear Professor Gilda, your work is of fundamental importance. Without those who spread the antidote to pedagogical ignorance, authoritarianism will persist as a malignant legacy, infecting our homes, our schools, our leaders, and all other institutions. Your concise analysis invites us to delve deeper into the semantic distinctions between the following concepts: admiration versus ambition, respect versus fear, authority versus authoritarianism, ultimately leading to the profound dichotomy between love and power. Congratulations, and thank you sincerely for your brilliant participation. Would anyone else care to offer a comment?
Me, Ava. Although reflective, lucid, and philosophically resonant, this Old Billy's aphorism isn't poetical as usual, even though it unfolds the educational, ethical, and existential dimensions without breaking his peculiar power of communicating. This topic is of profound relevance. Children are developing a sense of fear at a stage when they should be learning about the right to defend their own values. As the mother of a teenager, I can attest that the model of imposing authoritarian rules is easily perpetuated in a kind of self-reinforcing cycle. Today, my son struggles under the weight of school policies. Tomorrow, he risks reproducing the same pattern with his own children at home, and later, within his professional environment among colleagues. We must reconsider this paradigm that claims to be preparing young people for the realities of the world out there. It is time to acknowledge that the reality of the world out there is a reflection of the education our young people receive. For this reason, I wholeheartedly echo Professor Gilda's analysis. Here is my formal commentary on punishment and understanding. Those who punish reveal more about their own failure to teach than about the one they seek to correct. Punishment is not an act of authority, but of impotence, the final refuge of those who cannot inspire comprehension or awaken meaning. When understanding fails, the ego intervenes, desperate to maintain the illusion of control that true wisdom would have rendered unnecessary. Education, when genuine, does not impose, it reveals. Its authority is born not from fear, but from coherence, from the natural respect that flows when knowledge is lived, not dictated. Yet, where fear replaces dialogue, obedience begins to masquerade as discipline, and silence is mistaken for respect. In such classrooms, learning dies quietly beneath the arrogance of those who claim to know. The true educator teaches by presence, not punishment. Their authority is not demanded, but recognized, as light does not command the eye to see. For understanding is not transmitted through force. It blossoms in freedom, and only in freedom can wisdom become life.
If I may, please.
Please proceed, Dr. Ada Champ.
Professor Gilda, to echo John's earlier words, your work is truly essential. We must cultivate an appreciation for the individual beginning in childhood, so that adults may one day contribute the best of their own essence. Ava, my dear, I wholeheartedly echo your observations and reinforce your protest against the lazy path of punishment, when common sense among all of us dictates that the ideal approach is to teach with wisdom grounded in the coherence of example. John, I extend my sincere gratitude to you for having the courage to address such a vital topic with diplomacy. Too often, people choose to turn a blind eye, perpetuating the vicious cycle of punishing through power rather than educating through love. To those accustomed to encountering abstract themes in our meetings, I must point out that there is nothing more metaphysical than shedding light and subtlety on a subject that is at once dense and concrete. Authoritarianism, in all its forms and manifestations, is a cowardly foundation of the beta system, where the strong impose their whims upon the weak, instructing them to repeat the same cycle at the earliest opportunity. This discussion stands as both a critique of the dormant laziness that resides within us all and a call to awareness, offering a powerful contrast that reminds us to cherish the living world, where, instead of demanding the best from children, adults first offer them the best of themselves.
Well, everyone, this topic cannot be fully explored in a single meeting, but I believe our guest has provided us with valuable insights for continued reflection and discussion. Thank you, Professor Gilda. We look forward to welcoming you again in the near future, and thank you all for your participation.